Good evening, Western Washington. I'm Matthew Fab with Western Washington Weather, and today we're going to take a look at the forecast for this atmospheric river that's hitting the area right now. That'll continue through Monday, and then we're going to take a look at the warm-up and then the thunderstorm chance as we go into Wednesday. So we got some pretty interesting stuff to look at here in the video. So starting with the satellite imagery, you can see this atmospheric river moving into Western Washington. You can see we're getting some frequent rain across the area with a rain shadow over parts of the Seattle region there as this rain slams in from the west. You can see that here on the radar, how you have this steady rain north of the Olympic Mountains and south of the Olympic Mountains with this rain shadow over parts of Seattle and Everett there. So not the typical place for the rain shadow, but you can see it's been pretty persistent. Taking a look at the European model, you can see this heavy rain impacting the area through tonight into Monday morning. There you can see by the time we get to Monday night, that rain should mostly move out of the area. We have this ridge building here on Tuesday. But then take a look at this as we go into very early Wednesday morning. Take a look at this rain moving up into Western Washington. These are thunderstorms. It's not just going to be rain. We have a negatively tilted trough, which is going to be bringing in some thunderstorms across the region, potential for widespread thunderstorms. We'll take a look at that more as we go in through the video today. You can see that continues into Wednesday night, and then we have more rain, potential thunderstorms moving through into very early Thursday morning. And then we have this strongest storm offshore here that's just going to bring a lot more rain and some mountain snow into the area all the way through Friday there. You can see as we go into next Saturday, we do look to get a brief break there with some isolated showers by the time we get to next Saturday. So an active few days is ahead for sure. Taking a look here at the Northwest Avalanche Center here, forecast there, you can see that every zone in the Olympics and the Cascades has very high avalanche danger there, avalanche warnings in effect, and this is just, even if these warnings are expired, the avalanche danger is still extremely high as we have rain falling on snow, and that is always a recipe for avalanches, especially in the backcountry. Taking a look here at total precipitation on the European model, kind of see what I'm talking about there with that heavy precipitation in the mountains there, prompting that avalanche warning. Taking a look out on the coast, precipitation through Monday night, you can see up to 2 inches along the north coast, 1.5 inches for Hoquiam there. You can see that rain shadow for the parts of the Seattle metro area, and then this area of heavier rain between Olympia and SeaTac about there with 1 to 2 inches of rain in that area, then the rain shadow, and then 1 to 2 inches of rain from Whidbey Island up toward Vancouver, BC there. And then you can see the Cascades picking up some pretty heavy rain as well. Not very much snow falling with this, but you're looking at rain totals up to 3 to 4 inches in the Cascades with this setup here. Taking a look into the next couple days now, that rain will wrap up by the time we get to late tomorrow, and then so late Monday there, and then one thing you will notice on Monday with this atmospheric river, it's going to increase the temperatures a bit here. You can see across the Puget Sound lowlands, you're getting highs in the mid-50s from Everett northward and the upper 50s to low 60s from Everett southward, their coast remaining in the mid-50s. But take a look as we go into Tuesday. Just a very nice day on tap across the region with highs likely in the mid-60s to low 70s across western Washington. Areas from Olympia southward toward Portland could get into the mid to upper 70s. Some areas around Portland and Vancouver there could reach the upper 70s, maybe even near 80 degrees. And you can see just going to be a really nice day, our warmest day of the year so far. Even the coast reaching the 60s on Tuesday there. And then take a look at Wednesday. You can see we start to cool a tad bit on the coast there, but still in the 60s. 70s, upper 60s to low 70s across all of western Washington and western Oregon, from Portland all the way up through Seattle and Everett and up toward Vancouver, BC. Take a look at some of the foothills of the Cascades as well, likely reaching the mid-70s, and then even in the 80s for some places in the Columbia Basin, upper 70s for places like Walla Walla and Lewiston, all that over there. So it's going to be a really nice day across the region, but Wednesday is going to have thunderstorms as well, and these warmer temperatures relative to this time of year are going to help fuel those thunderstorms. So we'll take a look at that in a moment here. And then you can see as we go into Thursday, we get a lot of cool down with those thunderstorms moving through. Temperatures drop 10 to 15 degrees. You can see highs on the coast down to the upper 40s to low 50s, and Willamette Valley and western Washington drop from the upper 60s to mid 70s to the mid 50s, and maybe some upper 50s across the area. So a big drop from Wednesday into Thursday. Then you can see as we go toward Friday and Saturday, we remain in the low to mid 50s across the region. So now what is causing these thunderstorms? So here we're looking at winds at 18,000 feet. And you can see that as we go into Wednesday there, we have this trough moving into the area, and you can see how the wind is flowing in there. That is a somewhat negatively tilted trough, and that is what does sometimes allow for thunderstorms to pop up across western Washington and western Oregon. Typically, you get something a little bit weaker, but with stronger thunderstorm dynamics in the summer, but instead we're getting this here in March, so it does add a little bit of complication to it because this is not something that's all that common. You can see this trough moves into the area as we go into Wednesday, and that is what brings that chance of thunderstorms. So taking a look at the European model, we're looking at lightning flash density over a 3-hour average period here. So this is basically just showing chance of thunderstorms over 3-hour increments across western Washington and western Oregon. You can see as we go into Wednesday morning, it's about 5 a.m., you have thunderstorm chances across the coast range of Oregon. As we go toward 8 a.m. Wednesday, that starts to move toward parts of western Washington, including Olympia and Tacoma, and then towards Seattle there as we get into 11 a.m. there, you can see this round of thunderstorms moving through. And then as we go into the afternoon, more storms start to pop up. You get some stronger areas of thunderstorms moving through parts of western Washington as we go into Wednesday evening. Then you can see those thunderstorms continue across northern parts of western Washington up toward Everett and Camano Island and Mount Vernon there as we go toward 11 p.m. Wednesday. And then take a look at this complex of thunderstorms that will move across eastern Washington, going from Wednesday evening into very early Thursday morning before those storms diminish. We can take a look at this on an even more in-depth scale here, looking at lightning flash density instantaneous, which basically is showing you every hour frame by frame. And you can see as we go to 5 a.m. Wednesday there, storms start to cross into Washington. You can see by the time we get to 7 a.m., you got these storms starting to move into parts of the Puget Sound. You can see around Tacoma, Federal Way, Des Moines there by the time we get to 8 a.m., Olympia as well. And then you can see that round of storms moves out of the area by the time we get to 10 to 11, but then you get more storms starting to pop up as we go into the afternoon. Take a look at this. You got, by the time we get to 1 p.m., you got some storms popping up across the North Sound. You got some storms along I-5 there in southwest Washington, and then these storms start to move north into the Puget Sound a little bit more. By the time we get to 3 to 4 p.m. there, toward 5 p.m., you can see some more storms, and then towards 6 to 7 is when we start to get these bigger storms over the southern Cascades moving into eastern Washington. More storms potentially 8 to 9 p.m. there across some of your typical convergence zone areas, northern King, southern Snohomish counties. Those diminish as we get toward 10 p.m. or so, and then you can see strong thunderstorms moving up across eastern Washington into early Thursday morning as well. So safe to say that Wednesday will be a very active day in terms of thunderstorms and rain. And one thing that is driving that is the combination of those warm temperatures we were talking about earlier, with those highs reaching the mid-60s to low 70s across the area on Thursday. But it's also going to be quite humid. We're looking at dew points here, and you can see as we get to Wednesday afternoon there, you got dew points in the upper 50s to low 60s across parts of western Washington, which is muggy for any time of year, but especially extraordinary for the end of March. So the muggy air, the thunderstorms, the warm temperatures, that all contributes to that instability, which fuels the thunderstorms, brings that lightning threat and threat of heavy rain as well in those storms. And this is 24-hour precipitation on the European model from 2 a.m. Wednesday to 2 a.m. Thursday. And you can see, looking at some places under these thunderstorms, getting a ½ inch to an inch of rain. And this will likely all be rain, no mountain snow or anything like that with these storms. Some of the storms could be a little bit more elevated. You can see eastern Washington doesn't pick up that much rain because those storms have a pretty high base, but which doesn't allow for much rain to get to the ground like we see a lot of times in the summer. But you can see across western Washington, decent amount of rain likely with these thunderstorms. And then significant rain continues likely after this. You can see that those 24-hour rainfall totals remain on the higher side there, at least a ½ inch or so all the way into Friday and then into Saturday before that rain starts to diminish. So we're going to have a lot of rain over this week, especially from Wednesday onward. So yeah, thank you all very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe here on Western Washington Weather. I'll be doing a lot of videos this week as we get into this thunderstorm potential. The high-resolution forecast models are going to be coming into range tomorrow, and we'll be able to look at those and get some more in-depth information about what's going on with this forecast. And also be sure to follow me on Blue Sky, on Twitter, and the Western Washington Weather Facebook group. I'll be posting updates on there as well as this thunderstorm event gets closer. So thank you all very much for watching, and I'll talk to you all later.